Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Conversations with Geoff, where our mission is to bring speakers from all over the world that are willing to share their experiences battling through life's comebacks, growing up through the comeback, right? Mastering that stinking thinking. Oh, man, in all different aspects of life, like I said, and then giving you, the listener, giving you some opportunities to step into gratitude, to step into what they're sharing. Use what makes sense, disregard the rest of it, right? And then begin to make a difference in your life. Continue to elevate if you're already soaring. Begin a new journey if that's you, or kind of in the middle and not sure. Take this information, right, to kind of help offset the external chatter that's going on. And man, there's a whole lot. If you're living in the U.S., woo, buddy, from job security to political outcomes, based off of the political decisions that are happening, there's a lot of stuff that people are worried about, right? And then the internal messaging, that stinking thinking that always shows up, particularly when you're trying to do something new, particularly when you want to try and change the direction that you're going. Then life has a way of showing up and just saying, okay, come on, start slapping you around a little bit. And then that stinking thinking just either takes over, or you've practiced a few things that we talk about a lot on the show. Number one is being aware. What's triggering it, what's taking you to that space where fear, self-doubt, and self-loathing begins. And then how are you responding? Because what's triggered in your response, how you choose to respond, right? I said something last night about choices and choosing. And once you choose something, you become a servant of that choice, right? So anyway, I could talk in this space for a long time, but we're not here to do that today. And for those of you that don't know, my name is Geoff Tyson, and I am known as the Comeback King, host of Conversations with Geoff and founder of Comeback King Enterprises, where we do consulting, coaching, and speaking. And so today's subject is just going to be a quick chat conversation with myself. So please, when you hear this recording, or if you stop in and drop in, let me know where you're from. Let me know how you're doing. Let me know if this message today speaks to you at all. And I encourage you, if it does, to make sure you share it with those that you know. Share it with those that you love, and make sure that, you stay in touch with me along the way. Subscribe and do a review when you can with Conversations with Geoff, right? So today, man, it's been a crazy day. I'm got my gym clothes on still, but I wanted to make sure I showed up. I'm a little late. I apologize. But I wanted to talk about something that has been on my heart for a long time. And the more and more people I talk to, from people I've grown up with, to people that the last 30 years of my life I've shared with, or people that I don't know, have always been lately been talking about, from hearing me and having conversations with me about, man, Geoff, man, you need to share your story about, right? What's to talk about, fellas? Success doesn't heal your wounds. Only true connection can. And what that was like for me in my life, like many of you, I was growing up, struggled with how I felt about myself, struggled with the confusion about life. Why did people treat me this way that were supposed to love me? Why do I feel this way when I have two loving parents that were really killing it, man, trying to pour all they could into the family and do something different in a time when it was difficult for people like me to have a life that we were having, when they were showing up and they were doing tremendous things, but I was still off, but there was still something, right, that I didn't understand, and I didn't know where to go to get the information. My parents are loving parents, man, and they did the best they could with what they know, but some of the things they didn't know had an impact, right? And parents, I think we're still repeating some of those habits in today's world. So check yourself, right? Are you repeating things that didn't serve you, that you think are serving your kids, serving yourself in relationships, serving yourself on the job, serving yourself healthy? I mean, ask the question. Let me know what that is for you. So anyway, so I put something in the description here, and hopefully take a look at reading it. But it was really, fellas, I'm going to go back to it. Success doesn't heal your wounds. Only true connection can. And, I learned early, as I was telling you just a minute ago, about, having how to hide my feelings, that had to hold back the tears when people made fun of me, hold back the tears when I was told that don't cry at a funeral when a cousin was, I had just seen 2 weeks before was laying in a casket, right? And I'm looking around, everybody was stoic, and then I had a few tears, and they said, "Oh, hey, you okay? Be strong," right? I'm like, "Oh, what? I'm 7, maybe 10 years old." Right, this thing in my chest I felt like it was pain, but they tell me it wasn't. All that confusion. So I learned how to pretend like everything was okay. But I learned some cool things about people from being able to protect myself. I learned how to watch what people say through the tongue in their shoe, not the words coming out of their mouth. I watched people's body language when they were talking to me. So I could tell when somebody was really shifting on me, and I could tell where somebody was kind of like telling some bull crap on me, right? And all those things. So I learned to be really attentive to people in front of me. So I say that to remind all of us that what felt like struggles, what felt like battles, we learned some things from that. So make sure that you recognize what those skills are now today. You're probably using them. Hopefully you're using them for better and not for worse. I don't know, but hey, that's another conversation to have. So I wanted to kind of highlight a few things. I already talked about I didn't trust growing up. I built walls around myself. I had numbed the pain, right? First it was just pretending, and my coping skills was pretending. Nothing impacted me and nothing bothered me. And then I grew a little bit, and so I became an athlete and had some stardom. So that pretending like that was okay made my life good. And then it was the girls and all that other substances that kind of keep you numb, not feeling anything. And then work became, graduating from college, having a successful corporate career and then building entrepreneurship businesses. But all along in those journeys, man, until finally I couldn't take it anymore, I was still unhealed, still running off of the stinking thinking that told me, man, nobody really wants you. Oh man, nobody, it's going to be honest with you. You can't trust anybody. Remember all that, all that stuff, right? Yeah. So, and it has an impact. So I'm talking to the fellas directly, but ladies, you might feel the same thing in some of the things in your life. Let me know if you do. I'm sure you do, because I've had lots of successful women over the last year, just from conversations and getting to know them, talking to me about this stuff that they're coming across with the men that they meet. Woo! Right. So success doesn't protect you from loneliness. Success doesn't protect you from the memories of the things that are running when you go to sleep at night, running when you just blew up a relationship that you didn't think you were going to blow up, running from the continuing to repeat the same old things, getting the same results. And I was in a meeting the other day with one of my coaches, and I asked him the question. He's very successful, and he's happily married now. Like I am, but I asked him a question. So what was it like when you were in this space where you weren't healthy, you weren't seeking to be honest and open-minded and willing to learn and grow with somebody? What was that like? And he said, man, he had to think about it for a minute. And what he said was, I didn't know what I didn't know. I'm gonna say that again. He didn't know what he didn't know, right? In other words, just like I was, I'm thinking, man, this is how life is going to be. I didn't know any other way to stop having bad relationships. I didn't know any other way to pretend like, I'm just pour more time into work, right? I didn't know any way that there was possibility that there was something better, a better way to live, right? And he said, Geoff, man, I didn't know what I didn't know. And here's the hit, right? I wrote these things down. We can hold on to old ways of thinking, or we can seek help, right? I mean, no sense in doing it on your own. No sense in taking the journey all by yourself. So he's like, all right, and started looking at and got some help around things that helped him look at himself, man, right? I mean, and so I put some stuff together. I believe we're going to kick it off on Friday, and it's going to dive into what we're talking about. What are the triggers that set you off? What are the things that have been running around in your head for all since you've been a child like I was, until I was in my early 30s before I just had to surrender and couldn't take it anymore. Right. For those of you just dropping in, we're talking about something today. Success doesn't heal your wounds. Only true connection can. Speaking to the fellas, but anyone else that knows that, man, there's some things little off on how they feel about themselves when it comes to relationships and what we choose to hide behind. So we don't have to deal with the pain. We don't have to deal with the struggle. We don't have to deal with what's going on. So anyway, I wanted to stop in today to just put notice out there to be on the lookout for what's coming. We're going to have a summit or two around this matter. And I encourage, if ladies, if you're laying down at night with your partner and when you close your eyes, that there's a disconnection. You've been hoping that you could change in what you can. You've been hoping that he would change, which he can't. He can't. You might be married to him, right? And as life shows up and begins life in a married couple, you either grow step in towards each other, or you step back from each other. And the inability to be open and vulnerable and humble as a man is not easy when you haven't surrendered the fact that, hey, if you're having problems connecting, if you're having problems being vulnerable, if you're having problems really stepping towards, I like to call it, and this is something that I kind of thought, when we first get married, I'm gonna wrap this thing up, but when we think about, when you see somebody happy and you reach around them and you hug them with these long arms, right? This great big hug and everything's there and you're always happy and you're joyful. But as life shows up, and you're not, fellas, and you're not really dealing with the negative messaging from the past experiences, that you still stay guarded, you still don't trust, you're still not vulnerable enough to tell your partner how you're feeling, right? And she needs that, right? And she's pouring into you, but your arms, remember that hug I was telling you about? And sooner or later, your arms start to get shorter and shorter, right? You'll get this later. That hug when you were holding them close, because you've got these walls that you cannot stop from popping up. Your arms, your reach gets shorter and shorter. And all of a sudden, now you're standing like an alligator, right? You can't reach any further because you're trapped with all of the old stuff. You can't reach like this anymore. You're like, you want to, but you can't. Alligator arms, man. So envision an alligator standing up. The arms are really short, vicious, with little arms. Oh, man. So I just, man, I know this, that I'm not the only one that was in that space. And it's been a journey, right? I mean, I over the last 30 years, man, once I surrendered, mine was, corporate life and all that stuff, and surrendered that and put down the little substances that kind of kept me a little numb and began to build a relationship with help with me. Got around people that could help me love me until I could love myself. Right? And the journey has been a beautiful thing. So anyhow, let me find out my closing notes. Whatever you have to do, you have to start somewhere. The secret to getting started is to get started. So those of you that know that one I'm talking to, because it ain't for everybody. There's some folks who got it figured out. But I know there are people out there that are like, man, when is this crazy going to stop? When is this insanity going to stop? When am I going to stop blowing up healthy relationships? Because I don't know any better. I don't know how. And begin to have a new journey in my life. I said it once and I'm going to say it again. Success does not protect you. Right? The distractions do not protect you. They only keep you stuck. It's time to get free. It's time to unstuck yourself. I don't know if that's a word or not. But it's time to step into something that you're really meant to be. But it's going to take some work. So, hey, I encourage you to drop your DM in here if this resonates with you. I'll put my calendar link in there. Let's hit up an appointment. Let's have a further discussion. Man, I got to tell you, the life that I'm in now is better than the life I've ever known. But it took a lot of work, and I'm not perfect at it, and I make mistakes every day. Right? I mean, it's just the level of them are there. But I want you fellas out there that you know who you are as I'm saying goodbye. You know who you are out there that are, man. I'm knowing there's more I'm missing. And that is true. It's the connection with yourself. It's the ability to love yourself, because until you can love yourself, you truly can't love anybody else. It's the way it is. So stop running. Slow down a little bit. Hit me up. Let's have a short meeting. Be on the lookout for it. I've got some great speakers we're lining up to talk about this space. And know that you are worthy of having a healthy relationship. Know that it is not just going to stay the way it is and has been. There is a way out. I mean, there is a way out. So anyhow, you guys have a fantastic day. Thanks for allowing me to come in here and just talk to you and share a little bit about where I'm at and what I'm thinking and what you can expect coming up in the future from the collaboration between Comeback King Enterprises and Conversations with Geoff. Don't let that stinking thinking be the reason to keep popping up walls that you can't get through until you surrender. Don't let that stinking thinking keep screaming at you, reminding you of all the things that you are not, because you are amazing. Don't let nothing stop you from reaching your destiny. That is what I say all the time. Do not let nothing stop you. Yeah, I said, don't let nothing stop you from reaching your destiny. You shall not be denied. You are worthy of success. You are worthy of love. And most importantly, it's possible to change, baby. So when you look in the mirror tonight, look past, hopefully you see somebody that's looking back at you that you like seeing. But if you don't, and you're tired of looking at that person, know there's a way out. Disconnect. Have a great time. Pass this message on. Be on the lookout for more to come. You guys have a fantastic day. Oh, man. Time to get busy. Take care now. See you on the next episode.